On August 15, 1914, the SS Ancon was the first official vessel to cross the Isthmus of Panama from the Atlantic to the Pacific on a historic voyage. Today, April 1, 2013, a little over a century later, we are embarking on our first crossing in celebration of our birthdays. The Coral Princess has reached the Gatun Locks. There are 3 sets of locks in the Panama Canal. On the Atlantic is 1 set of locks with 3 chambers, the Gatun Locks. Ships are raised a total of 87 feet above sea level into Gatun Lake, and then lowered at the end of their transit into the other ocean. A common misconception is that one ocean is higher than the other, but they are both at sea level. On the Pacific entrance are Miraflores with 2 chambers and Pedro Miguel with 1 chamber. Panama receives as much as 200 inches of rain per year. This was a determining factor in placing the canal there, since 52 million gallons of fresh water is lost to the ocean on each transit. The Gatun Locks is the first set of locks situated on the Atlantic entrance of the Panama Canal. A series of 3 lock chambers raise ships to a height of 87 feet above sea level. Each lock is 100 feet wide and 1,000 feet long and takes 8 to 15 minutes to fill with water. From the outset, it was considered an important safety feature that ships were guided through the lock chambers by electric locomotives, known as mulas, mules named after the animals traditionally used to pull barges, on the lock walls. A ship approaching the locks first pulls up to the guide wall, which is an extension of the central wall of the locks, where she is taken under control by the mules on the wall before proceeding into the lock. As she moves forward, additional lines are taken to mules on the other wall. With large ships, there are 2 mules on each side at the bow and 2 each side at the stern, 8 in total, allowing for precise control of the ship. The mules themselves run on rack tracks with broad gauge to which they are geared. Traction is by electric power supplied through a 3rd rail that is laid below surface level on the land side. Each mule has a powerful winch operated by the driver. These are used to take 2 cables in or pay them out to keep the ship centered in the lock while moving it from chamber to chamber. With as little as 2 feet of space on each side of a ship, considerable skill is required on the part of the operators. The Coral Princess is now moving from the center lock into the upper lock, the final step as we approach Gatun Lake. The ship directly at our stern is a chemical tanker. This funny-looking vessel, the Bosporus Highway, is a car carrier. The gates are of enormous size, ranging from 14.3 to 25 meters high, depending on position, and are 2.1 meters thick. The tallest gates are required at Miraflores due to the large tidal range there. The heaviest leaves weigh 662 tons. The hinges themselves each weigh 16.7 tons. Each gate has two leaves, 19.8 meters wide, which close to a V shape with the point upstream. This arrangement has the effect that the force of water from the higher side pushes the ends of the gates together firmly. The gates can only be opened when, in the operating cycle, water level on both sides is equal. By 8 in the morning, the Coral Princess exited the locks into Gatun Lake. We then traveled by ship's tender to the Gatun Yacht Club, where we boarded an air-conditioned motor coach for the narrated drive through the isthmus to the small village of Gamboa.
My advice, come down backwards, hold on to both hands on the rails, put support on your foot instead. Come down forward.
The air-conditioned motor coach was waiting for us to drive us to Gamboa.
They decide to widen the canal. They are widening the canal to receive all the big ships that could not fit in the canal now. All those big ships that could not fit in the locks, they have to go around through South America, Cabo de Hornos by Chile, and they will delay 1 month. Also, they will be spending 10 times more the tolls that they pay to use the canal. This new set of locks are not going to affect, it's not going to affect the existing one. Both of them will be working parallel. The Panama Canal receiving up to 42 ships per day. In the future, there's going to receive more than 80 ships per day.
The Chagres River as seen from the highway. Fruit from a cashew nut tree. El Renacer Prison, home of Manuel Noriega. Embarking on a ferry tour boat for a transit of the canal through 2 more sets of locks. The ferry is about to enter Culebra Cat, the snake-like passage that slices the continental divide. The Culebra Cat slices 7.8 miles through the mountain ridge, crosses the Continental Divide, and passes under the Centennial Bridge. The Culebra Cat is an artificial valley that cuts through the Continental Divide in Panama. Culebra is the name for the mountain ridge it cuts through. Construction of the cat was one of the great engineering feats of its time. The immense effort required to complete it was justified by the great significance of the canal to shipping, and in particular the strategic interests of the United States of America. Panama's Centennial Bridge is a major bridge crossing the Panama Canal. It was built to supplement the overcrowded Bridge of the Americas and to replace it as the carrier of the Pan American Highway. Upon its opening in 2004, it became the second permanent crossing of the canal. Shortly after passing under the Centennial Bridge, the Pedro Miguel Lock comes into view. It is a single lock that takes ships from the level of the Culebra Cat down to the level of Miraflores Lake. At Pedro Miguel, the ferry descended to 54 feet above tide water. When the gates opened, she glided into Miraflores Lake and crossed its 2 miles towards Miraflores Locks, the last set in this historic voyage. Miraflores Lake is very small. There is only a 1 to 2 mile separation between the single Pedro Miguel Lock and the Miraflores Locks. The Miraflores Locks is the last set of locks before reaching the Pacific entrance of the Panama Canal. The ferry was lowered 27 feet per chamber. 26 million gallons of water is transferred in only 7 minutes, and all done by gravity. Your bathtub doesn't drain that fast. The headquarters for the Panama Canal Authority is located just to the east of these last locks. There seemed to be a very large crowd of people on the balconies overlooking the locks. The ferry emerged from the lower chambers and entered the sea channel, and Con Hill loomed high on the left as the ferry approached the port of Balboa in Panama City. The Bridge of the Americas is a road bridge which spans the Pacific entrance to the Panama Canal. Completed in 1962 at a cost of $20 million, it was the only non-swinging bridge. There were two other bridges, one at the Miraflores Locks and one at the Gatun Locks, connecting the North and South American land masses until the opening of the Centennial Bridge in 2004. Balboa is the Pacific side port of the Panama Canal. The port has a dry dock in Panamax size. It has a multimodal ship-to-train terminal called Pacific Terminal with the PCRC connection to Colón. This allows transportation of containers by train across the isthmus. The same railway has a passenger service to Colón, one way once a day as a commuter service from Panama City to Colón. This colorful building, still under construction, will house a new museum. Causeway linking three small islands built from the excavation of Culebra Cat. The Panama City skyline. then boarded our air-conditioned tour bus for the return trip to the Coral Princess via the new 4-lane highway. Monument honoring Dr. Arnulfo Arias Madrid, a Panamanian politician, doctor, writer, and president of Panama on 3 occasions.
We have the Gotel Monument and the Panama Canal Administration building on top of the hill. Okay, now this morning I was talking about Washington Goethals, who built the Goethals Bridge in New Jersey and complete the work of the canal 1907-1914. So in memory to this guy in 1954, they make that monument where we have the waterfall. Okay, the waterfall is representing the 3 different locks.
We were pleasantly surprised to see the new cruise ship terminal area in Colón. Rosita wearing the pretty amber heart pendant, a birthday present from her husband. Then it was time to make a wish and blow out the candles.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Simson. Happy birthday to you. Spice Boys. Don't forget Spice Boys.
Make a wish and blow the candle.
Yeah. Buy the CD, ma'am. CD. Buy our CD.
Colón celebrating Obi and Rosita's birthday with fireworks.